We got to look at our staff.
I agree.
We got to say, are we trained? Am I putting the best team on the field?
Exactly.
Who on my team is going to work with these systems
100%.
to make them successful? And if not, all AI is doing is exposing how bad we are as dealers. I told
Just
you,
pressure test.
And testing is
the
simple.
process, the people, in the way I pick up the phone to just my signage in the building to literally everything needs to be pressure tested.
I tell managers all the time, get together in a room once a week. Talk about where we do have broken processes, where can we fix them. Here's a perfect example of a place you want profitability, right? You want a very clear, absolute place that almost every dealer in America fails on.
Hey, what's going on, Automotive Nation? It is Jason Harris here, and thank you for joining me on another episode of Shift into Profit, where I get to talk to, anybody and everybody I want to talk to when it comes to creating a more profitable operations. Guys, and I have a guest. Actually, I don't have a guest. I have a friend with me today, all right? Can I say that?
Of course,
Michael,
100%. That's how I feel.
Guys, I have the one, the only, the oh-so-famous Michael with Proactive. Good.
How are you, buddy?
How's it going, man? Good to see you, dude.
Yeah, in Vegas again.
We're in
It's
Vegas.
Awesome, man.
We all made it here. There's no ice storms.
No ice storms, no snow, no little airports where everyone was trying to fly into and drive. I mean, NADA should really just get you got to be in cities with major airports and warm weather. That's it.
Come on.
I don't just own Vegas. Just be here. What are we doing in Orlando? I mean, okay, we got the airport.
I'm glad you said that. Anyways, I won't say what I want to say because I know someone's going to send me a letter.
This is where they want to be. This is
I agree with you.
Everyone enjoy it.
And I love the energy here. Don't you kind of feel like there's a little bit of bent up, because not a lot of people made it out last year. So I feel like a lot of people intentionally made sure they came this year, and it's a great buzz right now.
It's a great buzz. It's a great energy. And I will tell you, normally, us car people, we get spotted, right? We get spotted. Everywhere I go, I get spotted. I'm sure you do the same. And all these dealers here are getting spotted. But I'll tell you, I feel like a lot less of them are getting spotted right now. They're buying, and they're buying products and they're doing all this stuff, but they're being wiser about it. They're being a little smarter. I've had a couple people say to me, listen, I don't know so much. I have all these AI systems out there. They're all nice and they're all great, but when I put them into practicality in my dealership, they're not working so well. So I gotta get through what is the demo to what is the real product going to be. It's very interesting.
Well, I'm actually kind of glad you brought it up because that's a perfect segue to what we're going to talk about. But before we do that though, I love kicking off these podcasts with a little origin story. So if you don't mind, we'll start there. For the 5 or 10 people out there that don't know who you are.
There's more than that, I'm sure. There's more than that.
Well, and if you don't, you need to know. All right. But for Michael, how in the world did you guys start in this crazy little world we call the automotive industry?
Well, it's like everyone else in the car business. It just fell in here by accident.
Yeah.
I actually did not start in the car world. I started in the world of politics, and in the late 90s and early 2000s, I was running political campaigns throughout the Northeast United States, state, federal, local level. And I always say I got to do everything I wanted to do in politics except fly on Air Force One, and which is great. I did, but there was a gentleman who was a donor to the campaign, and his whole thing was why am I doing this politics stuff? Come make some real money. Come to the car business. There's no difference. Sell a punk of metal. Sell a person and their ideas.
Storytelling at its best.
Yeah, of
100%.
course. That's all it is. It took me a minute to get it, to see it. And when I did, I came over to the car business and walked in the dealership like a big shot, here I am, and walked into the owner's office, and he looked at me. I was wearing a suit and everything. He starts laughing. He goes, "What the hell are you wearing?" And he chucked a set of coveralls at me and told me to go see Mohammed in the wash bay and sent me to wash cars. And here I am, I'm in my early 30s, changing careers, doing all this stuff. The guy, sold me all these great stuff about the car business, but the part he left out was, you got to start at the bottom, and no one's going to, if he just dropped, and I'm grateful for it. There were days what the hell am I doing here in this wash bay and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, I'm grateful for it because I wouldn't be in this job. I wouldn't be here where I was today if I didn't wash those cars, because no one would have respected me up the ladder.
100%.
Right.
Yeah.
So I had to do that, and then I went to the BDC and the sales floor and followed that traditional path and ended up running a dealer group, and had the amazing opportunity to come here and take Alan's legacy and move it forward.
And what a legacy. What a legacy.
It's unbelievable. I can't tell you how many prospective clients become clients, and the call goes just like this. Hey, when I was a salesman, I met Alan Ram, or I went to a class with Alan Ram, and he changed my career.
Would have been 1999.
Wow. Yeah.
Does that sound right?
Yeah,
that sounds right.
Yeah, of course.
Albuquerque, New Mexico.
That definitely sounds right.
That's where it was. I remember.
Wow.
Little Holiday Inn.
And he inspired you.
Yes, he did.
And I get calls like that all the time. Like, Alan inspired me, and I promised once I had my own store and can make this decision, and just send me the agreement.
Yeah.
Like, you get that, right? And that's this great legacy of all these people. Like, I have people tell me I got to drive Alan between the store and the airport, and they'll sit and recount the story. Like, and the fact that this is a program that built a phone and now internet training legacy that still exists today. The word tracks, the techniques, you don't need to buy this today, do you? The amount of times I call people and I just say, did I catch you at a good time? And they just start laughing. I remember when Alan said that to me. So it's all those.
I'm trying to think. I think one of my favorite Alan ones, and it's funny because we actually haven't talked about this.
Yeah,
and it's only to kind of come up now. Like, please tell me no.
Yes.
Like, that one is the one I think is actually. I mean, I know there was a lot of one-liners. Alan had so many one-liners, but he had this one, and it stuck with me for some reason. I think I used it a lot. It was like a "please tell me no." It's like this opportunity to let the customer tell you no before they said no was like totally screwing with their head.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, hold on. I'm okay to tell you no? Like,
and it's that whole notion of sounding different than everybody else.
Yeah.
Like, I can't tell you. I go do training. I'll call stores. We'll make phone calls to other competitors. They all sound the same. They all sound. So when Alan's doing that stuff of like, just tell me why, no, like. Yeah. Boom, the customer's like, oh, wow, you do sound different. Yeah. I'm going to go down this road with you and enjoy this conversation and entertainment.
You sound like a human. You sound like a human. Right. Well, all right, here's what I'd like to do, Michael, because I'm kind of curious, and we've been talking to a lot of people. I mean, look, the objective kind of behind this area is what does it take to really shift into a higher profitable stage, right? And I believe every dealership is not at the ceiling. I think as an industry, we actually do suffer from a full belly syndrome where we spend too much time looking at what we did, not what we could have done. And I do sometimes blame the technology because there's no report out there that says this. Your DMS is built to
Stone
tell
Eagle could be the greatest thing, and it is
100%
in the world, but it doesn't show you where the leaks are.
It shows you what you've accomplished, not what you could have accomplished. Exactly. And so I kind of break this down into three primary buckets. I'd love to get your thoughts on this, right? I look at it from a people perspective, a process, and of course the technology. Right. For all the dealers out there watching, listening right now, just advice, suggestions. Where do you think they should be focusing on this year that's going to bring them the most bang for their buck in their operations?
So, talking about Alan and Alanisms, Alan used to always say, it's not about how many cars you sell, it's how many you're leaking. And that couldn't be more true today. I go to countless dealers, and they're fantastic. 70, 80% of the time, customers are showing up. 60, 70% of the time, if we include B-backs, they're selling that customer in the showroom. Yes. They've built this amazing machine, but what happens before all that? All this lead generation, these 5-6 figures that they spend every month to make the phone and internet ping.
That's right.
And then they're like, yeah, we did great. We had a 9% lead to sell. What?
Is that insane?
Right.
I just have to say that for a second. Like, that's insane.
Because when you back that number up.
I can't believe we accept that as like a win. Anyways,
right.
sorry.
No, you're right. Because think about it here, and just to make your case, right? Think about it. I spend $100 just for round numbers. I spend $100,000 in marketing and advertising to make that stuff. 20% of those customers actually show up in my showroom. That means 80%. Just $80,000. Just like that stuff on fire.
I know.
Right? That's what's insane. And then, how do we sell more cars? Just spend more money on advertising.
We're just going to turn up the volume.
Right. And then we scratch our heads and go, why aren't we profitable? Because we're leaking all over the place. So the profitability gets fixed when first of all, there's two places. One, we have a broken foundation. COVID broke the foundation of this business. This wasn't, cash for clunkers where it lasted 1, 2, 3 months, depending on where you are in the country, right? This was 3-4 years that we watched veterans leave. We watched, managers get downsized, right? One less manager at the desk, ex-veterans at the desk, right? Not caring, throwing money. We're making so much money during COVID. We'll just throw money at the problem. Yep. Oh, I'll bring in some guy who's going to make a whole bunch of phone calls with my team. We'll sell a whole bunch of cars, and then he'll leave me with a staff that doesn't know what to do.
Doesn't know anything to do.
Right.
Yep.
So step one is we got to look at our staff.
I agree.
We got to say, are we trained? Am I putting the best team on the field? And if I'm not putting on the best team on the field, I have to look at Moneyball, right? We all watch that movie.
Oh, yes.
And you remember that scene where Brad Pitt is sitting there with all
team.
the
Yep,
right? He's sitting there with the
Yep.
scouts, and they're all yelling, and they're all carrying on. But what's behind them? There's a board, and it lists every player by position, and there's a line. And everyone below that line is getting traded or getting thrown out or whatever.
Yep.
And they're constantly looking at what's below the line.
Yep.
And as dealers, we need to look below the line. Who is struggling and how are we going to lift them up and make them better?
That's right. And then that comes, so I love this because this really does now cover all aspects of the buckets I kind of lined up, right? Because you're right. At the foundation, it is your people. Secondary is the process supporting the people necessarily. And then you're right. The third one is like, do we have a technology that is actually assisting in making sure that we're efficient in what we're trying to execute?
Or are we using...
And Michael, I'll go one step farther because I'd love to get your thoughts on this. Does my dealership have a North Star where I can pressure test all this against? I don't know about you, but this is something I have found recently, especially this last year, is a full total lack. Like we talked earlier, I got an opportunity to walk into 367 dealerships in 2025, right? I'm going to tell you that definitely not a lot, and very, very few had a clearly defined North Star where they can pressure test their people, their insights, their processes, and their technologies to ensure that it's actually getting moved that way.
We just buy stuff.
I'm sure you see the same thing, right?
Everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
We buy stuff. We throw money at it. We throw the systems in place. I told every single one of my clients before they came to NADA who called me up, and they were like, hey, what are you looking at NADA? AI, right? Okay, great. You're going to look at AI.
Yeah.
When you look at that AI, what I want you to think to yourself is, who's going to do this? Who's gonna pick up the ball after the customer rates there?
Exactly.
Who on my team is going to work with these systems
100%.
to make them successful? And if not, all AI is doing is exposing how bad we are as dealers, right? The mediocrity in our business is what they're doing. So how do we pressure test these things? How do we grow? As dealers, we have to create that, like you're saying, that North Star, and then test for it every time. I tell you,
pressure test.
And testing is simple.
The process, the people, like in the way I pick up the phone to just like my signage in the building to like literally everything needs to be pressure tested.
It's the garbage in the corner theory, right?
Yeah,
it's like
that's a good point.
Walk around your house. Yeah. You all have that closet, that drawer, that some place where we just shove the drunk in, jam it shut, and pray it stays closed, right? And the dealership has that too. It's usually in parts and service. There's always that pile. There's that salesperson's desk. But here's the thing, and this is the simpler term for the dealer. Stop calling your managers and stop calling your employees on the cell phone. If it's an emergency, fine. But if not, call the store.
Yep.
See where is it? Do we have a broken phone tree? Where do we have a dead phone line? Where do we have no one answering their voicemail? Those are that's a very simple pressure test. But when you say the word pressure test to dealers, they don't always I get what it means, but I don't know how to do it. Right?
Yeah, that's actually a good point. And I really appreciate you doing that. So, that's a good point. For everybody that's watching and listening, I think you guys are in agreement with what me and Michael are putting down here. But let me tell you what I did kind of as a dealer to really pressure test. Like I said, first, guys, you have to document that North Star. And, and understand that this North Star doesn't only just encompass your customer's experience, but your staff's experience as well. Once you have that document, it doesn't have to be something like super glorified, and understand you might modify it. It's not written in stone, But here's something I did, and I think you'd appreciate it. Once every 2 weeks, I brought my managers in for what I call the little things meeting, where I intentionally do not bring me a big dumpster fire, right? Because we'll handle that when it's on fire, right? But I need 2 or 3 little things, all right, that you're going to change in your department that is pressured, that is going to support this mission. And dude, I'll tell you right now, 6 months of doing that, wow.
I tell managers all the time, like, get together in a room once a week. Talk about where we do have broken processes. Where can we fix them? Yeah. The problem is these guys, and in the past, I used to always take the excuse of we don't have time as like a real BS excuse.
Sure.
The problem is
Not really
their
being
time is
intentional.
getting shrunk right now. And yes,
Sure.
do we have managers that walk in the store and just get behind their computer screen and get lost in it? And yeah, we have that all day long, and there's too many of them, and we don't walk around and talk enough. But at the same breath, most managers, and you probably saw it in the stores you saw, they're a guy or gal short.
100%.
Right?
Always.
And when they're a guy and gal short, the things that fall off are the pressure tests, are the training, and all that stuff. Here's a perfect example of a place you want profitability, right? You want a very clear, absolute place that almost every dealer in America fails on: service drive.
Oh, hugely.
Okay, I have a client down in Florida. They're in Orlando, super large Toyota store in Orlando, Florida.
Yep.
Okay? It doesn't matter. Yes, they sell an exorbitant amount of cars, but this model fits. I don't care if you sell 50 cars or 1,000 cars a month. 50% of their new car sales come out of the customers in their service drive.
Because they're committed to being humans and having conversations.
But think about now this, when we look at the economics of the store and the profitability, this is a store that sells, 1,000 cars or more a month in that neighborhood. Sometimes they're below, sometimes they're higher, but they're in that ballpark, okay? What would you guess if this was a traditional normal store? What would you just ballpark guess? What would you think their lead count would be? Phone and internet combined.
Gosh. See, 1,000, 5,000 a month?
2,000 leads.
Yeah.
Because
You're right.
50% of my sales are coming out of my service drive.
Well,
so I don't have
I love
to
this.
pressure
And I love
this.
Well, so and I think for everybody out there watching, listening, what's coming out here is it's a commitment. It's a different mindset. It's a commitment to creating conversations, not creating leads. And I've always kind of been in that mindset as well. Like, I mean, I stopped counting leads years ago. And once you stop counting leads and you start counting conversations, it will fundamentally change your outlook and where you're putting your money really, really quick.
Really quick.
Look,
and the numbers you should look at, there are numbers you should look at, like, don't get it wrong, but
100%.
the numbers we need to be looking at, we got to break them down. It needs to be a lead to appointment and appointment to show. Like, we built a lead conversion calculator, okay? And it's a calculator that exists that for dealers to go in and put their actual numbers in: lead to appointment, appointment to show to sold, how many trades per sale that we're getting.
Yep.
And then hit the calculate button and see where you should be.
100%.
Right? And not based on some pie in the sky, just national averages. Where should you be as an industry? Our numbers aren't great. I mean, think about this.
No.
I'm not talking about numbers as an industry. 74% of people call a car dealership to make an appointment. But 30%, but we only make appointments with 30% of those people.
That doesn't make sense.
42. You ever call anywhere to make an appointment and not make an appointment?
No.
It doesn't make sense.
Doesn't
No one
make
does
sense.
it.
Doesn't make sense.
Well, only
There's
in this
some
business.
broken process, all right? And guys, look, you can tell that me and Michael are very, very passionate about this. We can easily go a full couple hours on this, but I know we're getting towards the tail end of our time, and I definitely understand that we've touched on some great points and things that you guys can take action on at the dealership right now, but we haven't covered everything. So Michael, real quick, for everybody out there watching and listening right now who would love to connect with you, and I'm sure continue some portion of this conversation, because we haven't covered it all, but we've covered some great points. Yeah. What's the best way for them to reach out, connect, and learn more about what you guys do?
Of course. So you can always, michael@allenram.com is the email address. My cell phone number, feel free, call me, text me anytime, 917-279-6684. So it's michael@allenram.com, 917-279-6684 is the cell. Or you can always visit us at proactivetrainingsolutions.com anytime and learn what we're doing. Our YouTube channel, LinkedIn, we got it all.
Got it all.
If it exists, we got it.
Dude, I've had so much fun. I always love it when we get to jam.
Brother. I really appreciate doing this, and I'm just always looking forward to doing it more. And I hope you have a great rest of the show.
It's going to be an amazing show, and thank you. And we appreciate you. Thank you guys for taking the time to consume this. Hey, look, one of the biggest compliments you can give us as content creators is share the show.
Yes.
Look, if you guys got a manager or a colleague or some leader in your business that needs to see some portion of today's conversation, the most meaningful thing you can do for us is to share the show. Michael, again, thank you so much for your time. And for everybody out there watching, we appreciate you. Have yourself an amazing day.